Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Thursday's edition of the dceu Daily. And don't forget, we can continue the conversation, you and I, over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So go follow me now, or after you've seen this video, unless you've got a separate device, then you can watch this video and follow me on Twitter at the same time. So there's two things we'll be discussing today. Jonah Hill apparently will not be cast in the Batman. We'll be discussing that, why that's happened all of a sudden. And we'll be talking about the defining movie that changed the future and defined the future of DC movies. But first, let's talk about Jonah Hill. So apparently some very, very big name bloggers have said that Jonah Hill will not be cast in the Batman. The rumour was he was either going to play the Riddler or the Penguin. Personally, this doesn't bother me at all. I haven't seen one Jonah Hill movie before. He, in all intents and purposes, he's a very, very talented man. So why has this happened? If this is true, either bloggers got this wrong and he was never going to be cast in this film at all, or he probably wanted to do a profit share where he would get a share of the profits of the movies, and probably the percentage he wanted was too high, he was too greedy. In all honesty, if he was being greedy, because apparently they were negotiating some kind of fee a couple of weeks ago when this news broke that he was actually interested in being in the film. If he was being too greedy, it's best that they and us know now. So no one's wasting their time on this guy, and he's just in it for the money. You don't want that. Obviously, people want to get paid. They want to get as much as possible. The entertainment industry is a high financial market, and I understand that. But I would suspect that this guy was never in to be in this movie. But sometimes people are in negotiations, are in talks to be in a film, and it never happens for them. But as I say, I was never really that interested in Jonah Hill as an artist, as a performer, so I'm not really that disappointed that he allegedly won't be in the Batman. Don't forget, this is the best place to check out for up-to-date casting news on any DC movie that's in production right now. And there's going, as I said before, there's going to be a lot of casting news on the Batman. It's going to be surprising, it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be controversial. And there's a couple of names that have already been told to me, which I can't retain that information to you because I'm not allowed. But basically, be excited for this film. And in fact, someone who's going to be working with Matt Reeves on this film posted on Twitter saying how excited he is to be part of this film, and that us, the audience, the consumer, have a lot to look forward to. So that's really, really exciting. I like Matt Reeves. He's got a good sense of humour when he talks about the Batman. I like him. It's what we want from people making DC films. It's like David F. Sandberg, very humorous, doesn't really take stuff too seriously, which is great as well. So before I talk about the era-defining film that changed DC movies and Warner Brothers forever, let's talk about what SJWs said against the Joker. They said basically it tries to make a white man who goes around killing people sympathetic. Who commissioned this film about this white man? Any guesses? A man of Asian origin, Walter Hamada. Yes, he is an American Asian, that is true, but he is an Asian. He commissioned this film about a white lead who has mental health problems and becomes the Joker. So what have SJWs got to say about that? Warner Brothers have now got a female CEO, the best female CEO businesswoman in the entertainment industry, right? You compare that with the old white man, because they're not my words. I'm using SJW words, right? Who's running Disney, right? And then you look at this man, this Asian American man, Walter Hamada, who runs all of DC films now, right? He green-lit this film, The Joker, with a white male lead. So what have SJWs got to say about that? Because this is what I'm telling you. Their logic is so flawed and so hypocritical, they cannot win. Warner Brothers staff is a mixture of people, a mixture of races, a mixture of genders. And so to attack one of these films which has been very successful financially and had some highbrow critics at least had a great response from it. So many actors, so many performers, so many people in the industry, nothing to do with the film or Warner Brothers, loved this film. Singers, boxers, footballers, everyone is loving this film. So it's just really funny how their narrative hasn't worked this time. And the Joker has changed what studios will be doing in the future. Because now, before they were so scared of bloggers, saying, oh, why have you cast this one? Why is there not as much representation? But now, a film that's being accused of being too violent and accused of having sympathy for a white male hasn't ruined the film. It hasn't ruined the film's profit margin. So now studios are going to be looking at it and saying, maybe the tide is turning. Maybe we can just focus on the creativity rather than these crazy people with this crazy flawed logic. Only the future will tell that, and we'll find out in the future. But some future that has already been set is the future of DC films. How did this change? How did their mentality change? 1 minute they're sacking Zack Snyder, they're reshooting scenes for the Justice League movie. They want it to be like the MCU. Another minute they're commissioning films like The Joker, R-rated, Birds of Prey, The Emancipation of One, Harley Quinn, R-rated. All of a sudden they're opening these little pockets, these little doors, which means DC Films has these different universes, and the tones can be so varied and so different. But what made them do it? The film I mentioned, Justice League. Justice League changed everything. A film that failed changed everything. It showed them that what they did with Batman v Superman and Man of Steel was bang on, creative, compelling art. That's what they want to do. That's what Warner Brothers are. They are not Disney. They are not Marvel Studios. And you can't pattern, nobody can pattern what Marvel Studios have ever done. And I'm talking about the success as well, because that success comes from damn blind luck. It's as simple as that. Things fell into place for Feige, Disney and Marvel Studios. It's as simple as that. Anyone trying to pattern and copy and paste what they've done is going to fail. Now, Justice League didn't fail because Warner Brothers wanted to follow the MCU blueprint. No, let's get this right. Justice League failed because they took one man's piece of art and they tried to cut it to pieces and put other bits into it, and the puzzle didn't fit. You know when you put a puzzle together, right, and you put the wrong pieces in, it looks horrible, it looks ugly, it looks disjointed, it doesn't work, does it? And this is what happened with Justice League, and the response to that, and the response from us, the fans, who were disgusted of how Zack Snyder was treated by Kevin Sugihara. He's the one to blame, nobody else. He's the one who had all those different cooks spoiling the broth. Zack Snyder, Jeff Johns, and so on and so on and so forth. That's why the Justice League movie kind of failed. Don't forget, John Berg was involved as well. There was too many people involved, and to take someone's movie and cut it to shreds and put different bits and pieces in it was never going to work. And Warner Brothers learned their lesson. They learned their lesson by getting rid of the people who were making the decisions. Kevin Sugihara. Now, I spoke about this months ago when this happened. Apparently he was getting this woman he was sleeping with jobs, sex for favours. Now, sex for favours in Hollywood is as old as the crucifixion. It's as simple as that. And it still goes on today because everybody's watching them now. They're a little bit more careful. But Hollywood and the outer entertainment industry is the most corrupt industry out there. So when you get someone like Jamelia Jamil, the actress from The Good Place, talking about the modelling and models being too skinny and starving themselves and having these diet supplements, she's right, but she's being hypocritical because she never calls out her own industry. So getting back to DC Films, it was kind of good what happened with Justice League. We didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy sitting there watching what they did to Zack's movie, but we needed it to happen for once and for all, for this studio and its shareholders to understand how you can make a successful franchise. And basically, since Aquaman, they have done everything right. everything right. They understand that you don't have to have one franchise that's interconnected. You can have the DCEU, you can have the Batman universe, you can have the Black Label universe. And this is what they're doing, and this is what they're going to do. This makes this such a vast franchise now, and a lot more interesting than the MCU. And the Justice League movie and its failure changed that. It showed them that, if something ain't broke, don't fix it. And the truth is, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman may not have been making, Avengers ensemble money, but at the end of the day, it didn't have to. It would have been a slow process, but I think people would have come to the party. And what they did to Justice League is wrong. And that brings me to the next point. Now, there's a lot of noises being made by a lot of people talking about the Snyder Cut. You've all noticed how bloggers are changing their minds now. I was talking to Chris Wong Svensson, the guy from Ping Pong Flicks. Brilliant, isn't he? He's awesome, right? The Ping Pong Flicks show is awesome. Anyway, I was talking to him very briefly, and I was saying, I just feel it in the air that we're going to get the Snyder Cut. And there's only one reason for that, because bloggers know things. And now they're moving their narrative and their agenda. They're speaking positively about the movement. People who are speaking against the movement, that there was no Snyder Cut, are all of a sudden jumping to the party. And they're not doing it to support the movement. They want to jump on the winning team and pretend they were never against us, because they know this film is about to be released. And I discussed this yesterday. I'm very confident that Zack Snyder is in talks about the Snyder Cut of Justice League with Warner Brothers right now. And I think we will be hearing something sooner rather than later. I would imagine definitely an announcement before the end of this year. We won't see it this year, but I'm very confident that we will get an announcement maybe early 2020 we'll see it, maybe a little bit later on. But it's a very exciting time. And it's very interesting that, HBO Max is going to be launching early. Is it spring 2020? So I think the announcement its actual release will probably be around spring. And I think it will premiere on HBO Max. Look, this has become a massive situation. Who knows if Warner Brothers planned this all along, or recently they've been thinking there's an opportunity here, and there is. Because at the end of the day, Kevin Sujihara made an error in judgment because he was under pressure from the media, from bloggers, from critics, and he wasn't strong enough to hold them off. And this is why he made the biggest mistake in film history. And we're never going to forget that. But a wrong has to be righted here. And I believe shortly it will be.